name's Rebecca Pierce. I'm a violin maker in Montreal, Canada. Okay, well, I'm from London in England. When I was at school, I played the violin a lot, but when it came time to choose a career, I realised that it would not be music, but I wanted to do something related, so I chose violin making. I studied for 4 years, and at the end of my 4 years, I went to Toronto to make a work experience in a workshop there, which is where I met my husband Charles, who's also a violin maker. We eventually married and I moved to Canada, initially to Toronto, and then 2 years later we moved to Montreal, which is where my husband grew up.
I knew that's what I wanted to do when I was pretty young, around 14 years old. Yeah, I'd visited a violin making shop when I was younger. I played the cello a little bit when I was young. I had a good memory of visiting a violin making shop, and I've always enjoyed woodworking and music, and I've never liked so much the performance aspect for myself, so I thought this was a good way to make things come together with working with my hands, which I enjoyed. So I worked in a factory in Eastern Europe, in Romania, for 2.5 years, and that's how I got started. I moved back to Canada and started working on my own. And I found it a little bit difficult, and I started looking for a job, and I found a good job in Toronto where I stayed for a long time, and that's where I met Rebecca. So we've been together 14 years since.
We knew about Tom Wilder a long time ago. He's one of the top violin makers in Canada, and his shop, Wilder&Davis, is one of the best known shops in Canada. So we always wanted to work for him, and we were very lucky when we arrived in Montreal to very quickly develop a relationship with him. But the year, in fact, that we moved to Montreal, we did something very similar to what we're doing here, but in Brazil. We were there for 2 months, and we were fixing instruments so that the kids could play. We knew that Tom and Wilder&Davis, they made frequent trips to Cuba, and this interested us. So when Tom met Liliana, and Liliana had the idea to do something similar here in Colombia, we were very, very interested to be a part of it.
Este año ha sido una gran experiencia para ConCuerda. Decidimos aceptar una invitación de la Fundación Música por Colombia. Ellos habían recibido una donación de instrumentos de la Corporación del Concurso Nacional de Belleza y no tenían quienes arreglar los instrumentos. Y nos vinimos a Cartagena a apoyar. Edgar en su organización tiene más o menos 1.700 niños y trabaja en diferentes barrios en Cartagena. Entonces vinimos felices a ayudarlo y eso es lo que estamos haciendo acá.
Some of the instruments are a little bit affected by the humidity. The heat is not that big of an issue, but it's really humid here. And instruments sometimes behave a little bit like sponges. The wood just absorbs the humidity, and yeah, it affects the instruments a little bit, so there's definitely more work.
The state in which the instruments are in is very different. Many of these instruments have not been played for a long time, and it shows. So the work that we're having to do is much more involved. There's a lot more work to do on every single instrument, so it's slower.
Cuando nos encontramos con ConCuerda, pues uno simplemente, primero la generosidad y el nivel del grupo profesional de ConCuerda. Yo creo que estos luthiers son del top 10 del mundo de la lutería. Realmente es fantástico para nosotros, ¿no? Es como, yo te digo, un milagro estar en Cartagena y de pronto tener los mejores luthiers del mundo al lado nuestro. No pasa.
The explanation that Edgar gave, that music can help with the development of like education, I firmly believe this. I think that it's very important to have music in school. Then after the school we visited the area in which these people live. It was good to walk around and see how different the environments are between this part of Cartagena and where these guys are living. It's something else.
When we walk through, I guess we're aware that there's security issues, and we know that some of these girls might hesitate to go back, you know, in the evening, go back alone. They probably need a ride or a friend to accompany them or something like that. We didn't see that, and we don't feel it the same way that the local people feel it. It was pretty touching, and for me that was for sure one of the most important part of this trip here, was to go and see them at their school.
So we make very small changes, and oftentimes it's the small changes that make a huge difference to the person playing the instrument. So if an instrument is well worked on, well set up, then the musician will feel that, you know, it's easy to make a sound, it's easy to have different dynamics and different qualities of sound in the instrument.
We don't mind working on just piles of instruments, and we know they're going to be put to good use. But the interaction with the children, that really makes a difference to them for sure. Like, they're really happy to see somebody that cares about them. But I think for us too, like for us it's much more rewarding. And also when we work with them directly, and if they had played the particular instrument, there's kind of a before and after effect. So it's really nice because they can really see the difference, and they know what we're doing, they can feel it, they can hear it.
We've only met a few students, music students, but of those that we've met, every single one of them has great talents and is very, very willing to be a part of this and to help us as well. So we felt very supported here, and to be a part of this and to be able to facilitate this is very gratifying for us. If we can come back in a few years and see that you know, someone's been playing the violin for 3 or 4 years and they're enjoying it and they're loving it and they're motivated to keep on doing this, then nothing would feel better.